It is in Galatians 2, chapter 2, verse 20. And it says this: "For my old self has been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives within me. So I live in this earthly body, but believing in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me." Father God, we thank you for who you are and all that you've done. We thank you for your body that was broken for us. Jesus. We thank you, Lord, that whenever we take communion, whenever we partake of this, it's in a relationship with you, Lord. Knowing that you died for us, that way we may become alive inside of you. So what God has been speaking to me about a lot recently is that whenever we take communion, what we are actually doing is we're surrendering to God. Because it says, "For my old self has been crucified with Christ, and this body I live in now, I live in by faith." Meaning, we daily acknowledge that Jesus Christ had died for us. That he died for our sins, and he died so that we may be made whole, even on earth, as it is in heaven. So whenever we take this bread, let's take it in remembrance of him. Let's take it in remembrance of the cross, of what Jesus has done for us. So go ahead and lift up the bread. Father God, I thank you for this bread that represents the body. Thank you, according to the scriptures, Lord, that you died for me, so that way we may be able to live for you, God. I thank you, Jesus, that you took upon our sins, Lord, and our chastisement, Lord. That, Lord, you took upon our punishment upon your body. We thank you, Jesus, that you traded places with us on the cross, so that way we may be able to come alive in you, Jesus. We take this bread in remembrance of your body broken for us. Let me take the bread. What's so interesting about this juice that represents the blood of Jesus Christ is, God didn't have to stop on just his body getting broken for us, but his blood was poured out for us. And the reason why I come to realize that's so significant is that this blood symbolizes that we are now part of the family. When we take this blood, it's not to put something inside of us, but it's to remind us of what is already in there, and that is the righteousness of God through Christ Jesus. It says in 2 Corinthians 5:21, "For God made him who knew no sin become sin for us, that way we might become the righteousness of God in him." So God, we take this in remembrance of your blood poured out for us. God, that you cleansed us of our sins, and now we are the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. And Lord, I thank you for your power that now flows through our veins, that your love and your mercy and your grace and your faithfulness that lives inside of us. We thank you, Jesus, that just as we have received Christ by grace through faith, Lord, we now walk in our life with that. So God, we thank you. We take this in remembrance of you. Amen. Let me take the juice. So you guys can go ahead and get to your rise up from your seats. We're about to begin our time of worship. Thank you, Jesus, for your presence. Thank you, Holy Spirit, that you're in this room ready with us. That you live inside of us. Just for a few minutes, go over and just pray out to God, just speak to you and him. want someone to go ahead and just lift up our hands. Picturing that thing still in our hands. And just lift up your hands just all the way up as if you're about to give something to God. And say in your own hearts, you just say, "Father God, I give this to you, whatever this is. Or I surrender to you. I thank you, Lord, that whatever it is that I give out to you, anything that you're asking for me to let down, just surrender, God. Thank you, God, that whatever you put back in this place is way better. It's just so much better, God, than what we think. So we're going to go ahead and just have a little moment of instrumental worship just between us and God. Just picture just you and God just surrendering. Maybe a concept in your mind, maybe a thought, maybe your anxieties, maybe your fears. Maybe some of you are holding on to past relationships. Maybe a job that you feel like you have to make a different move in. Just right now, just between you and God, let God minister to you. As you minister to Him, say, "God, I surrender to you." No sin, no shame, no past, no pain can separate me from your love. No height, no depth, no fear, no death can separate me from your love. God, we thank you that there's nothing that can separate us from your love. That you are good, you're a God. Lord, we worship you in this place. Thank you that you're so loving and kind, and you're so graceful and merciful. That you don't want to leave us where we are. But God, you want to take us somewhere. You want to take us to a place of fullness, a place of joy, fulfillment that comes only from you, Jesus. That only comes from your presence, of making you the center of our life, Lord. You're the first and you're the last, God. You're the everything in between. God, you are our everything. Thank you for your word. Thank you, Jesus. In your name we pray. And everybody said, Amen. You may be seated.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
How are you going? I have some announcements to share with all of you. Not the least of which to remind us that God is good. Amen.
Amen.
Yes. All right, guys. So I have something to tell you regarding a dance. I have very few details on this, but Pastor Martin has a ton more. I know that much.
I have a video.
And Pastor Alexander has a video for this.
Hold on.
As you can see, we've got a lot of exciting things going on that we just can't contain it. The way that it comes out is just kind of a surprise.
Yeah, I don't have it. Hold on. No, you sent it to me, right?
You're on my computer. Just go to my
Actually, I think I'm going to make that the last announcement. So, for our weekly announcements, we have that weekly reading going on, guys. We're in Acts still, the Acts of the book of you, or I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I think that's how you say that. that's the new title of the book. Really nice.
Hallelujah.
I believe we're in Acts 4 this week somewhere. We do have that up, or we will have that up on our Facebook and Instagram. Then on this Wednesday at 7 o'clock, we do have that prayer call still going on. Pastor Alexander will send out Zoom links. If you're interested and don't have access, just let us know. We should be having a young adults gathering this week. I would assume so. But yeah, also look for information on that or just reach out. And also youth this week from 6 to 8.
Woo!
Get excited. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to prematurely announce this because we don't have all the details, but we have quite a few. Enough to say that we are having a summer experience
What?
for the youth, which involves a walk-in. Our very first walk-in.
Woo!
Whoa. Who said 2020 was canceled? Because we said just kidding.
Yeah, come on.
So we're having a summer experience. It's put together by Foursquare, just like the whole national team. It wasn't just one little section, but it was everybody, all the above. So we have them to thank for it. Thank you, Foursquare. And it's going to be great. And I'm really looking forward to it myself. Already gearing up the Red Bulls I'm going to need for that because I don't remember the last time I stayed up all night.
Amen.
And so, I believe we have the Chinese dance ready. Whatever, I'm excited. That's what I'm doing.
Are we going to be doing that dance?
No. That's it. I'll talk about what's
So if you're online, I really hope you saw that well because inspired. I'm sure we'll have Taylor guiding the stretches for that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, come ready, come limber for that. That is very much high on our agenda these days. And so I believe that's it for the announcements.
Fourth of July.
Oh, and 4th of July was yesterday, guys. I hope you celebrated. Yes.
Freedom.
Glad to be an American. Very thankful for this country. So, yeah. And take it away, Master Martin.
All right.
All right.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Buenos días a todos.
Buenos días. Buenos días.
Good morning, Ohio gozaimasu. Okay, so, well, we're going to talk about worship today, and you know what? I have to tell you that at the end of this message, we're going to take offering, and we're going to do another song. And here's where you need to know. You want to live a victorious life, live a life of worship. But exactly what is worship? Let's talk about that. Let's pray first. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you and we praise you for what you're doing in this church. Lord, thank you that the enemy is scared, and we know that. He's scared. He's trying to come against our church. And we rebuke him in the name of Jesus. Because the gates of hell shall not overpower the church that you're building. And that includes our church. And we thank you. We praise you for that. Amen. This morning, my heart is a bit grieving. Who has heard here that the governor of California has ordered churches not to sing? Mind you, I'm not talking about China. I'm not talking about North Korea. I'm not talking about Cuba. I'm talking about right here, our backyard. The governor of California has ordered churches not to sing because it spreads the virus. Church, let me tell you something. Okay. What's going on in this country recently, don't be fooled. This is not about racism, although there is racism, I'm not denying that. This is not about the coronavirus, although the coronavirus is real, and I'm not denying that either. This is an affront against Christianity. Make no mistake about that. Okay? There's politicians out there, there's many of them out there that are totally against Christ and what Christ is doing in our nation and the world. And they're coming out against it with force. I want you to be prepared. I want you to pray against that. And so I believe that our message today is quite relevant Worship, the correct response to God. Acts 13:22b, how about David, the son of Jesse, a man after my heart, will do all my will. So what is worship? You know, actually, I'm not reading the definition in the dictionary of worship because it kind of falls short. And as I was researching this week, I found different definitions. And really, this is kind of one that I've sort of came up on my own that I think kind of encompasses what worship is, and it is a correct response to God. Notice that this definition does not say anything about singing, although it is included. But that is not the only thing. Singing and musical instruments are a part of worship, but it is not all. All right? Let's go to the next slide. The reason that it says that I put here that worship, the correct response to God, our lights are flickering here. I tell you what, like I said before, I think that we pastors have many thorns in the flesh, and the electronics is definitely one of them. You never know what's going to happen Sunday morning. So worship is the correct response to God, because let me tell you something. God is the first one that reaches out to us. Amen?
Amen.
God is the first one that reaches out to us. John 6:44, no one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him, and I will raise him up at the last day. Do you know that you cannot come to Christ unless God the Father is drawing you to him? Do you know that? You know, the funny thing is that, as you guys know, I came to the Lord when I was 17, and I was so proud of me as a teenager. I chose God. Honestly, I was kind of proud of that. And then one day I went to a service, and the pastor said, you know what, you did not reach out to God. He reached out to you. And I'm like, what?
Amen.
You gotta burst my bubble. But that is true. God, you cannot come to Christ unless God the Father is reaching out to you. And just so you know, we're not Calvinistic, which means that the false belief that God creates some for heaven and some for hell. Let's go to the next slide and read what it says. He's drawing everyone to himself. Amen? 2 Peter 3:9. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some count slackness, but it is long-suffering toward us, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. How many does he want to come to repentance, according to this verse? All. Okay? So this Calvinistic view that some have, that God creates some for heaven and some for hell, that is simply not true. And so the worship is the correct response to God. What do I mean by that? Let's go to the next slide. And you know what? I can't think of a better analogy for God than a parent and a baby. Amen? So here's a baby that's being loved by her mommy or his. And of course, the correct response to the child is what?
Love.
To love mommy back, right? Look at the child, it's touching. This person loves me. Who is this thing? What is this? Right? And so God the Father reaches out to us with love, and the correct response should be that we love him back. Amen? And that is worship. Next, of course, not to leave out the man. I love this picture, actually. Here's a baby kissing his dad. Ain't that cute? Yeah, I don't know why I'm going in and out here, but I think I'm good. All right, next. So God reaches out to us, and he actually gives us gifts. Amen? Many gifts. And so the correct response is for us to what? Give God gifts. This is why we're going to take offering at the end, because you know what? Offering, giving financially is worship to God. Amen? Yes, ma'am. Like I said, technical difficulties are the scourge of pastors worldwide. I know that. All right. So here's this boy giving a gift to a parent. We're going to see today. And it's kind of funny because there was something like, when he was 4 or 5 years old, he's a fan of Paddingtons, and we still have them to this day. We have many Paddingtons. But he had a 2-foot Paddington, right? And one day he came to my room and said, here, Daddy, here's my Paddington. I'm going to give it to you.
What are you, Tigger too?
Yeah, and I'm like, didn't he? I forgot that. And I felt bad because I'm like, are you sure? He says, yeah, I'm sure. And I think that is the correct response to a loving Father. And that should be our response to God. And that is worship. Amen. By the way, I always thought, well, give him a couple of days or a couple of weeks, he will come back running for that Paddington. Guess what? 20 years later, that Paddington is still in our room. He has not come back for it. So I think he meant it. Next. Of course, the correct response to God as He loves us is what? That we spend time with Him. We should want to spend time with God. Amen? But some of you don't recognize that. I had to throw that picture to your left. That's me 100 years ago and one of our children. All right, so the correct response is spending time. What else? Next, please. The correct response is that we can't stand being separated from those that love us, our parents. I love this book. Are you my mommy? Some of this ducky lost his or her mommy. So this poor ducky went around asking everybody, where is my mommy? And I remember that one of our adopted children, when they came to our house, became really attached to Alexandra to the point that Alexandra could not even leave the house. She could not even open the door without freaking out. And it's like, no, mommy's not going to leave you. You're here to stay. And so that should be a response to God. I know over the years, as you guys know, I've been a Christian for a very, very long time. Think about as long as you, Jill. No longer. I don't know what you consider yourself when you came to Christ. At what age would you say?
Well, I was very young when I learned who Jesus was.
Okay, then you've been a Christian longer than me. Okay. All right. But you know what? Here's the thing. I've seen many come and go. I actually have a very good friend that rejected Christ. And to be honest, I'm terrified. What would I do without God? Even those years where I was in war against God, you guys know that story. I actually did not want to leave God. I was in the lie that He hated me. And so therefore I wanted to hate Him back. But I actually wanted Him to love me, and I tried. And so the correct response to God then is that we want to spend time with Him, we want to love Him back, we can't stand to be separated from Him. What else is the correct response to God? By the way, all these are forms of worship, amen? We want to do what pleases God. Hopefully we should. Like kids, many of you parents watching online that are here, right? When our kids went to help cleaning, God help us. Remember that? They did a bigger mess than we had to clean up afterwards, didn't we? But the idea is that they wanted to do what a correct response is to do what pleases the parent. And of course, cleaning is one of the things that everyone has to do. So many children actually want to help children with those chores. Next. And finally, I like to for last, the correct response is to want to worship God musically. Amen? All right. So let's go next. What is the incorrect response? Ain't that the truth? How many times do we do that to God? I don't want anyone to raise their hands because we all do it. We all pout. We all, right? We all do something. I remember the years prior, just prior to my World War II, what I call it. I blame God for everything. My poor wife, she kept telling me, why are you always blaming God for everything? You know, he becomes our punching bag. But here's what, next. New perspective principle. Having the wrong view of God leads to the incorrect response to God. That is the truth. I've heard it say before that people reject their view of Christ. But if those people truly met Jesus Christ, there's no way you can reject Jesus. How can you reject the one that died for you? How can you reject the one that says, no, do not stone her or him, let her live? You can't. And so having the correct view of God is utterly important. Next question, what is your view of God? Interesting question, isn't it? What is your view of God? Do you like to spend time with God? Do you like to love God back? Do you want to bring Him gifts? Do you want to do what you know pleases Him? This is the question. Next. I think that, as you guys know, we're huge here in the grace of God. The grace of God has been lost over the centuries. And without the grace of God, you can come up with weird stuff in the Bible. Okay? It's very important. Next. Which is why, thank you, Stefania, for the wonderful graphics. By the way, I didn't realize I was used to the one with the black letters, but it's black on black, so it wouldn't show. I'm like, oh man, I gotta tell her. But then I realized you thought about that before. You gave us one that would display on black. Thank you. True artist. All right. Reformation 2.0. That's next. That's on our website, by the way, and we mean what? There's three important things. Next, please. Crucial aspects. Number one is the grace of God. John 8:10-11. That's where Jesus forgives the woman caught in adultery. And it dawned on me the other day. You know what? The Christians of the world that do not understand the grace of God, they are the ones that are saying, stone him, stone her. Ain't that the truth? Think about it. Which is why many Christians run from the church and even the world, because we have become judgmental. We have forgotten the grace of God. And in a sense, we're saying, stone him, stone her. Who wants to be stoned? That's in the right mind. None of us, right? Your identity in Christ, who you are. If you do not have the right view of God, you will not have your right identity, your correct view of your identity. And so you're going to come up with strange stuff. Next. And of course, the third thing that we put in our Reformation 2.0, what God is bringing back to the church, the grace of God, our identity, is making disciples. Amen? Mm-hmm. All right, next. And all that is in our website. You go to New Perspective, npcvision.com. You click on About Us, and actually that little half paragraph there at the bottom. So if anybody asks you, Diana, what is your church about? What can you do? And take them to our website, yes. And you click where?
About us.
Oh, Diana, you're so smart. You get an A. Yes, right? And so you memorize and take them to our website. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Go to the next. If you Google New Perspective Church, I did that this morning. That's what comes up. We used not to come up. Now we do. And now you can't see it, but this was taken recently because there's our Friendly Classes sign. All right? And anyway, actually, right here, I don't know how Google chooses what it displays, but that's a video that Pastor Alexander did on April 10, Good Friday. Why does Google choose to display that? I don't know, but look at that. New Perspective Church in Irving, Texas. We're changing the world's perception of God back to John 3:17. Locally, nationally, internationally, making known the good news and the power of the grace of God. New Perspective Church on Facebook, posts, and I don't know what else. And here's our address and phone number and yada, yada, yada. How does he know that we're open at 10 a.m.? I don't know. Anyway, next. Okay, so what is making disciples? I submit to you that making disciples isn't doing nothing but teaching others how to worship God. Think about it. No, is that all it is? Because if you're going to make a disciple of Jesus, that means you want to make people, you want to teach people to be like Christ. Amen? And didn't Christ love his Father? Didn't Christ sing to his Father? He did, actually. If you look at the Last Supper, it says at the end that they sang hymns. Didn't he spend time praying? Didn't he spend time with his Father? He did. So guess what? You're making disciples. You're teaching others how to worship God. Go to the next one. So the perspective principle, when you make disciples, you're making God worshipers. Amen? Taylor, please come real quick. Tell us yesterday what happened. Get a microphone. You should know which one works. And just tell us what happened. Actually, I want to mention about the parties too, so. Go ahead. Just in your own words, in English.
Yes, because anything I speak comes out of my mouth. All right, so the other day I went to Harbor Freight. Yesterday I went to Harbor Freight to pick up some tools, because what else do you get at Harbor Freight, right? And as we were going to the checkout line, there's this guy up there, and I was just thinking to myself, like earlier in the day, I was thinking, what about if, God wants me to speak to somebody over here today, right? And I was kind of freaking out thinking about that, because I thought there was going to be this other guy, and I thought God was going to be like, you're going to have to tell him something about this secret thing he has in his life, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like freaking out thinking, oh no, I'm going to make it complicated, right? And I'm like, nah, it's not that complicated. And then I ended up going to the checkout line, and then there's this guy, his name was Nick. And he was like super demonstrative, he was super like outgoing and like extrovert, you could just really tell, right? And I was like, oh, this guy's like me, so I just started talking to him and stuff, right? And I found out that he's new to the area, he's from New Mexico, and he's looking for a place to blow fireworks and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And it just came to me, oh, wait a second, this guy looks like he wants to go to a party. So I was like, hey, so I'm part of this church, right? And we host parties every other week or something like that. Would you be interested in coming? I can give you my phone number. And he's like, yeah, man, for sure. So I got my card, my new perspective card. That's my
Woo! He was ready.
I was ready. Right here.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wrote down my number and I gave it to him and said, yeah, man, here you go. Can I get your number just in case you lose that card? And he's like, yeah, for sure. So he gave me his number, and now I have his number. His name is Nick from Harbor Freight, and hopefully we'll see him sometime.
Amen. Yeah, let's give it up to him. Good. Yay. Here's what I got to tell you. You need to know that we've actually had 2 parties now. Okay. We had a blast in those parties, and we're building relationships with these people. Okay, and actually, last party that we had, it was with 2 people that actually speak fluent Chinese. And I tell you what, man, they speak like Chinese people.
Like me?
Well, not quite. And so, you guys know a foreign language. Now I'm continuing with Japanese. I tell you, Japanese is kicking my butt. Steven Sensei, Tasukete kudasai.
Sorry.
But I'm continuing with Japanese, kind of like picking up Chinese again a little bit. But today after church we're going to plan another party. I tell you what, making disciples is fun, right? We're throwing parties. We're going to do this dance. By the way, we're going to have people do the dance. We just need somebody to lead it now. So if any one of you out there listening to me, if you can lead this group dance, we need to talk to you, but we're ready to go. So, where else can you sign up to do a group dance and then put it on YouTube? And the reason that we showed that video for this Chinese couple, they just started this thing, that went viral. Listen, you have no idea what I can do with this. I need to think big, amen? And then you guys, we already have our video game sign up there. You know what? Listen, God is bringing people in here. Last Wednesday, we had new youth here, amen?
Amen.
We actually had a dad that brought his little boy to play video games. So listen to me, this church is growing. I'm not going to look like it, but it is, and you will see it, and God has great plans, amen? For 09, say amen, type amen if you agree, hallelujah. All right, so when you make disciples, you're making God worshipers, amen? Next, Isaiah 43:7. Here's what I believe. People always ask, why would God create us? Why did He create us? I believe that the answer is in Isaiah 43:7. Everyone was called by my name, and whom I have created for my glory, whom I have formed, even whom I have made. So whom I have created for my glory, whom I have formed, even whom I have made. Now here he's talking to the children of Israel, but this applies to everyone. Like the 10 Commandments, is that just for the children of Israel, or is it for all of us? Anybody? The 10 Commandments, what do you think, Diana? Is it just for the Israelites, or does it apply to us? What do you think? Yes! Woohoo! You get another extra thing, it applies to all of us. And so the same, it says, I have created for my glory. Definition of glory, adoring praise or worshipful thanksgiving. Listen, God has created all of us to worship. And listen, I think all of us want to be happy, don't we? Right? Okay, guess what? You want to be happy in life? Worship God. Because you know what? If you do the thing that you were created for, you will be happy. And the reason why the world is miserable is because we're not worshiping God, and so we're getting told these weird things. And to help us with that today, I have, ta-da! Oh, sorry, it was the next one. It's the next slide. I have someone who's going to help us to explain what it's like not to worship God. You will see. You're going to like this person. Is it a person? Well, we'll see. His name is PJ. All right. Ralph Waldo Emerson, he was just a philosopher. To my knowledge, he was not a Christian. Okay, that's important. He was not a Christian. He believed in something called
Transcendentalism.
Thank you. Thank you. I gotta learn English too. All right, so he said a person will worship something. Have no doubt about that. We may think our tribute is paid in secret in the dark recesses of our hearts, but it will come out. Ain't that the truth? That which dominates our imaginations and our thoughts will determine our lives and our character. Therefore, it behooves us to be careful what we worship, for what we are worshiping, we are becoming. Wow. This is a non-Christian said that. Listen to me, there are no atheists. Next time you meet an atheist, you know what, that's the person that's just completely, utterly lost and lying to themselves. There's no such thing as an atheist. We all worship someone, something. We all worship a God. You know why? Because we're created to worship a true God. The problem is that many of us want to replace a true God with something else. And again, now here, what is the next slide? Help us with that is?
PJ Funny Buddy.
PJ Funny Buddy. I love this story. Thank you, Jill. You know, it's funny because after our first daughter was born, Grandma Jill started buying all these books. And little did she know that before she read them, I did. Guess what? Because you know, I didn't grow up here. Right? I grew up in Lima, Peru. So all this kid stuff, I didn't know. So when I got a hold of these books that Grandma Jill would send, it's like, oh my gosh, what is it? This is so interesting. So, if you guys don't know, the PJ Funny Bunny, guess what happened? One day next, you know, his mommy made him eat carrots, right? And all of a sudden, he got sick of carrots. So guess what he said? I don't want to eat carrots anymore. I don't want to be a bunny. God created me a bunny, but guess what? I refuse to be a bunny. Sound familiar nowadays? So he decided he was going to go and be a bear. So off he went to the bears welcomed him, he played with them, but guess what? Winter time came and they said, okay, if you're truly going to be a bear, you gotta hibernate with us. So PJ Funny said, yes, I'm up for it. So he went to bed, put his hat to cover his big ears, and then he was bored. He's like, I can't sit here for months while this guy sleep. So guess what? He said, I don't want to be a bear. So he went and wanted to be a moose. And there is little PJ Funny Bunny, and he tried to make the moose call. And Michael says, moo? And he goes, I can't do this. I don't want to be a moose. So he said, I got it. I want to be a next bird.
Yes.
So he went with the birds, climbed a tree. The birds went flying. He said, I'm going to try that too. That looks like fun. And so he flapped his little arms, and guess what happened? Or exactly. Yeah, he didn't quite work out very well. All right. But here's the thing. This is what happens. Guys, the story of PJ Funny Bunny, as silly as it may seem, is the story of the world when we do not do what we were created for, and that is to worship God. As you guys know, Pastor Alexander and I have traveled the world extensively, and you know what? We see it again and again and again. The destruction, the nations that reject God. It doesn't matter what language it is, it doesn't matter what race they are. Next. Because we were created to worship God. And you cannot talk about worship and not talk about David. Amen?
Amen.
David, I think, is the epitome of an example of a man that worshiped God. So much like God calls him a man after God's own heart. And just think about it. For God to call someone a man after my heart. What a privilege. But you know what? That can be you and I too. Amen? Because David, a man after God's own heart, is a worshiper. He loved God. He gave to God. He spent time with God. He praised God with instruments and song. He did not want to be away from God. David was a true worshiper, and that's how he became a man after God's own heart. Amen. Next. By the way, this is despite the fact that he committed adultery with Bathsheba. We know that. And it's despite the fact that, guess what? Next, he committed a murder. Not only did he commit adultery, but he had the husband of the woman that he committed adultery with killed. And so yes, David, the man after God's own heart, was an adulterer and a murderer, and yet God calls him a man after God's own heart. What would that be next? What would that be? You know what that is? It's because God looks at the heart. And yes, we're going to blow it. You've blown it, I've blown it, amen? But guess what? God still loves us. He still accepts us. Amen? Now that should make us shout for joy.
Woo!
Yeah, all right? Because you know what? In the human way of doing, right? If somebody does something wrong to us, what happens? We can get really mad. We can reject them. We can leave them. We can forsake them. Right? We can tell them. I'm not going to ask anyone to raise their hands, but you know what? As you get older, you get family that say, you know what? They never talk to me. They write you off for whatever the reason. You know what? That's not God. Next. And you know what? I want to end here, and we're going to offer and worship. But here's what I want you to know. If you truly want to live a victorious life, become a worshiper of God. Amen? The list of accomplishments of David, the life that he led, you cannot, it's too big. I've just listed a few here. Did you know he was a pioneer in music and songwriting to God? A poet, a hymnalist. Somebody that writes hymns. Where's Mike sat here this morning? He would love this. Way ahead of his time on instrumental worship, and he started this when he was only a shepherd boy. Do you know that he started writing songs and playing instruments to God when he was about a teenager, maybe younger than that? Now, this is thousands of years ago. Now, you may think, like Taylor over here, he writes songs. But here's the thing. We're talking about thousands of years ago, before all this became commonplace. He started just worshiping God because. And before him, you will find songs to God, but they were written in response to a victory or something specific. David, on the other hand, he started worshiping God just because in his daily life as he tended the sheep. Amen? I mean, think about this. He could have spent time playing his iPhone, right? Playing video games. He didn't. He actually spent time worshiping God. He was just a teenager. Wow, what an accomplishment. He killed a lion and a bear. Anyone here killed a lion and a bear? Or a bear? Okay? He killed Goliath. Remember that story? You know, we'll talk about killing Goliath, but did you know that actually decided the outcome of an entire battle, and the Israelites defeated the Philistines? So it wasn't just Goliath that got defeated, it was the Philistines. He chose a site to build God's temple. To this day, that site exists, and we can go visit it. Jesus is his descendant. I imagine that. What a privilege. Can you imagine? People went, oh, am I a descendant of queens? You know, well, why not find out? Am I a descendant of kings and queens or whatever? Well, what about him? He is the ancestor of Jesus Christ. Wow. What a privilege. He was the founder of Jerusalem, which was the capital of ancient Israel, and arguably the capital of God's reign on earth to this day. You know, I've talked to a lot of people that have no clue what Lima is. Lima, Peru. But most people know what Jerusalem is. Amen. He escaped death many times. He overthrew kingdoms. He ruled with justice. He was a victorious warrior. And I'm going to end with that next. The cave of Adullam. You know, my secret prayer is that our church will be like the cave of Adullam. Here's why. David was a lone fugitive. He was running for his life, and he came to this cave. And when he got out of this cave, he actually had a band of outlaws, incredible men of God that had a military might. And David was very respected. Next. And actually, here's why I pray that our church will be like the cave of Adullam. Let's read 1 Samuel 22:1-2. So David departed from there and escaped to the cave of Adullam. And when his brothers and all his father's household heard of it, they went down there to him. Everyone who was in distress and everyone who was in debt. Anyone have credit card debt? And everyone was discontented, gathered to him, and he became captain over them. Now there were about 400 men with him. Listen, all these outlaws started coming to him. They were attracted to David. Now why would that be? Because David was a victorious man. David was a worshiper of God. And therefore his life reflected that. And who would want to be around that? Next. And what happened in 1 Chronicles 11:10 is, think of it, he went into this cave alone and he came out victorious with mighty men of God. You can read in the Bible, the Old Testament, that the deeds that they did that were really like superhero stories, except that these were real men. They became that under David. And here's what 1 Chronicles 11:10 says. Now these are the heads of the mighty men whom David had, who gave him strong support in his kingdom, together with all Israel, to make him king according to the word of the Lord concerning Israel. This man became mighty men of God, recognized for their deeds. Why would that be? Next, simple. Psalm 71:8, as you guys know, David wrote many of the Psalms, and this is the kind of stuff that he put down. My mouth is filled with your praise and with your glory all day long. You know, that makes me think. I'm not really one to say four-letter words. For some reason, that has never really been my thing. To me, to cuss somebody out doesn't do anything, so I really don't do it. Or to call, use four-letter words, he just doesn't, okay? You can think whatever you want about that, but I just don't. What does come to my mind is when I get upset at situations. That's when four-letter words come to my mind. I gotta be honest with you. When I think of David, it says that his mouth is filled with your praise and glory all day long. Please, church, let that sink in. What if we could say what David does? And the next time somebody cuts us off or whatever, and by the way, we also cut people off. We never talk about that, do we? I get tired of people complain. Somebody cut me off. Well, yeah, how many have you cut off? Well, we don't want to talk about that, right? We complain about so much, and I found out one of the reasons why I stopped kind of complaining, or I tried to, is because I realized that really everything I complain about, I end up doing to someone else. I'm sorry, you do too, okay? So, why are we complaining? But what if instead of complaints and four-letter words or whatever it is, we could say what David says? My mouth is filled with your praise and with your glory all day long. I think of David being in the cave and all these guys coming to him. And like we were talking about the other day with Taylor, you can preach to the monks, but if you have the measles, guess what people are going to catch? They're going to catch the measles. So David, being the man that he was, he couldn't help but to replicate himself in these guys. Guys that were victorious like he was. What a privilege. Amen? But guess what? That is our privilege too. Next. I think that's the end. New perspective principle. Interaction with God is crucial for us to overcome deformities in our identity and move on to victory. Let's read that again. This is deep. Interaction with God is crucial for us to overcome deformities in our identity and move on to victory. We live in a fallen world, and we all have our dysfunctions here and there. Guess what? Spend time with God. Because it is in that interaction you're going to receive healing from God. And the deformities in your identity and mine. And I can talk about for hours what has happened in my life, and then move on to victory. What worries you today? What traits do you have that you wish you didn't? What problems do you have and you battle with that you wish went away? You know what? Become a worshiper of God. And remember, although we are going to end with songs, it is not just that. Learn from David. David worshiped with his life. And so it is what worship is a way of life. When Taylor was talking to Nick that day, he was worshiping God. He was doing what pleases the Father, what pleases God. Doesn't it please God that we go out and make disciples? What do you guys think? What do you think? Of course it does. He told us to make disciples. Amen? So when you're making disciples, you're pleasing God. And here's what we're going to tell you. Talking about victory, this is the honest truth. I've said before, just so you guys know, we are not here into the prosperity gospel. You flip you up. What's this called? Snap your fingers. And then God tells you, gets you what you want. We do not believe that. However, Hebrews 11:6 says, and without faith it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. Listen, you seek God, he's going to reward you, period. You guys will see, like I said, we have the sign out there that says free video games. We're going to fill this church with youth and with young people like me too, okay? But listen to this. The sign was ordered, and that's in a place kind of far away where I used to live, Jessica, you know where that is, in the Keller area. And so I ordered the sign, I have to go pick it up. I don't go, how far is it, 45 minutes to drive, or what is it?
Yeah.
About?
Without traffic.
Right, okay, I don't order signs to go 45 minutes and pick them up. I tried to order locally and that didn't work, okay? So I wanted the sign, so I just called those guys, and I can do it quick, so I said, you know what, please print this sign for me, and so they did, right? And then Friday, I kid you not, I went to pick up the sign to the 45 minutes away where I used to live, and after I picked up the sign, I thought, you know what, there's, as you guys know, we're real estate agents, there's this person that when I used to live in that area, that I met, and they said, you know what, we're going to start our house, So I've been keeping contact with them for the last 3 years. And I thought, you know what, I'm here, I might as well stop. I kid you not, I drive to the house, the minute that I park the car, the woman is coming out, getting in her car, she's about to leave. She looks at me and remembers me and says, gosh, I'm so glad you're here. We're selling our house, we're putting it in the market. This month, my husband and I were talking about who are we going to get to sell the house. I'm so glad you're here. This is Friday. Saturday, I went, okay, can I come and see the house? I want to do a walkthrough. Sure, come on by, I want to do a walkthrough. We have an appointment on Tuesday to list the house. This house is worth over $400,000. As agents, we get 3% commission. We get most of it, not all of it. Do the math if you want. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Church, I will stand here and not apologize that if you follow God, you will be rewarded. And I even said financially. Yes, financially too. I can sit here and tell you stories. That's just one of them. How did I visit? Now, why did I go? Why was I there? I don't normally drive 45 minutes just because. I went because we're obeying the commandment of God to make disciples, and we made that sign. And I went to pick it up. That's why I was there. And the time was just so perfect. Had I been there 15 seconds later, that woman would have left, and she doesn't live there anymore. The house is about vacant. She changed her phone number. I could not get a hold of her, which is why I wanted to stop by. Do you understand? Do you realize what I'm telling you? Listen, worship God. Spend time with Him. Do what pleases Him. Love Him back. And you know what? You're going to get rewarded. I'm so glad that happened this past weekend, because you know what? I always say that, and I have stood here and said, you know what? If you're going to dedicate your life to make disciples, you're going to meet people, you're going to change, you're going to grow, and that is going to include financial blessing. And I say that with no shame. Hebrews 11:6 backs me up. He's a rewarder of those that diligently what? Seek Him. Amen. Next, and with that, we're done. Let's bow our heads, let's pray for the offering, and then we're going to end with a song of worship. Holy Father God, what a privilege to love you back, to give back to you, to spend time with you in prayer, in worship, in Bible reading, to do what pleases you, to go out and make disciples on many things. Lord, I pray for all of us, Lord, we will not see this as a chore, but rather as a privilege. We don't have to worship you, we get to worship you. And we also get to reap the benefits of that. Father God, I thank you for this offering we're about to take. I pray that you will bless it, multiply it for your kingdom's sake, and for those that are taking it. Amen. Amen. And as you know, you can also give online. And there is faithful Jill. Thank you, Jill. Hallelujah. Like I say, yeah, you can also give online. I know there's many of you that do. So feel free to do that. And being that we talked about worship, now remember, worship is the way of life. It's not just singing songs, but it does include that. So we're going to end with...
Because I don't have to copy it.
Huh? Yeah. Overtime worship. This is Zion's message, right? Doesn't say let's say offering time. See, Zion, where are you? I need you to do this today. Offering time, worship time.
Oh, offering time.
Blessing time. And worship time too, actually. Both. All right. So let's stand, and we're going to end worshiping the Lord in song.
just want
And I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. Never wanna leave. I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you.
Church family, be blessed. Hopefully, see you soon here. And